What's happening? Today I wanted to discuss the topic of allowing yourself to miss someone, or allowing yourself to miss something, sort of a tangible item that you've had previously, or a person, or a friendship, and how we need to allow ourselves to miss that thing or person in terms to live the healthiest life. We're told to move on too quickly, as if that's something missing, be it a person, a tangible item. We're told that to move on because that missing piece of the puzzle links to us being stuck, when it doesn't really. If I link some points back to myself, the night out where everything went to plan, it was brilliant. You couldn't recreate that night because it was so good. Everything went to plan, everyone was there, and you didn't spend too much money, you didn't get into any trouble, and you just had a great time with your mates. The uni dynamic that now when you're back home from uni, you could never recreate again. You're older, no one's here. When QPR were good, when your football team was good, and you didn't have to worry about struggling in the relegation zone because they were at the other end of the league, or in the Premier League, and you saw better players, so the expectation was higher and you were enjoying it more. The feeling of walking into a room, be it at school, college, and knowing everyone's name in there, and they knew your name. These are the moments that we didn't know were special at the time. Now, in later life, we go to work, you've got to show yourself off again and tell them your name and tell them what your qualities are, instead of every single time when you saw people before, they knew what they were getting with you, really. When another thing we think of it is could we give someone one more call? And this could be, let's start with the family context. Say if you lose someone in your family, and the next celebration, be it Christmas, Mother's Day, or Easter, where a lot of the time all the family come together. A lot of the time, when someone's not there, you come to realise that you're not missing the moment of the celebration and how the vibes are down for the celebration. You're missing the person. And when you understand that, you go, they made it special. A lot of the time when you're younger, you have Christmas, you get your presents, and you're like, oh, when I get older, I'm not going to have my presents. But then when you get older, you realise, when I get older, I might not have my granddad there. I might not have my nan there. I might not have my own parents there. The absence of them is so loud. And sometimes you might get something that's in these celebrations, like something that's been cooked, or a certain show that's put on the TV during these celebrations, and your brain gets a tick of these familiar things, and it brings you back to the moment where you're like, oh my god, this used to always happen when said person was here previously. It brings them back for that brief moment, and you go, it just makes you think, and you go, I wish they were here. It also adds grief it makes you grieve the old version of yourself, where you go, this person helped me get along this journey. And a lot of the time, you think about like how your younger self was treating themselves, and how we sort of took for granted them not being around all the time. But we also have to acknowledge how strong we were ourselves in order to pull through in that moment where there was a possibility we were going to lose someone. And when we did lose someone, say that when we were young and we were down, and we wouldn't have to cope now at 22 compared to when we were a lot younger. And then you have to acknowledge how strong we were as young adults to pull through in that moment when we could have gone the other way and really suffered. in the terms of friendships. Friendships fade without reason, really. And how we sort of have to pick ourselves back up from this is that we just got to tell ourselves the motto of life moves on. We're going to meet new people, and if we just stand still, sort of grieving these friendships, we won't find new ones that might even be better, people that might be on our level. Another one would be relationship linked. There could be a girl you miss, but I think what you're missing is the feeling and not the person, because it might have been years ago and they might not be the same person, and they might have taken their trajectory of life differently to how you've taken yours, and whilst you might have aligned when you were younger, you're not going to now. We can also link missing things to nostalgia for tangible items we once had. Items from our childhood, stickers, trading cards, the Diary of the Wimpy Kid book series from the whole of primary school that every single student seemed to have had. I was one of them. Songs that you heard back in the day. One thing I keep bringing up recently is how Ed Sheeran had the Lego house on the 2012 Christmas iTunes calendar that everyone got for free if they had iTunes. Which, if you had an iPhone, you had iTunes. Which means if you had the calendar, you got Lego house for free. A text from someone that you can't let go. This could be a family member where they're not around and you've got one of them like final text threads from them that you can't delete. Or from a girl where you're like, I was so happy in this moment and I didn't really think this would happen to me, but it did, and I want to sort of remember that memory. Keep it in a healthy way like that. You don't really want to cling on to some things like that, especially if you then go and meet someone new. But it's just sort of a nice feeling that you had to feel. So it's sort of nice to look back on it and go, that actually happened. On a more of a silly, serious kind of thing, it could be like how you missed an open goal at five-a-side or in childhood football. How you missed that penalty. How you're playing darts with your brother and you're about to win the set to win all three legs 3-0, or it's 2-2 and it's deciding leg and you miss that last double and lose. And also, if you're playing mini golf and you miss that putt, that's going to be one of the most frustrating things to miss. And the things with these are what we think are moments of perfection, but they don't matter. If you're playing Sunday League and you miss an open goal, get over it. It doesn't matter. You just keep going and you'll get another chance. A double, win the next leg. Golf putt the next one. There's also another hole, unless you're on hole 18 or 9. They don't matter, but in that situation where you want to win, they do. Another one would be how you went to both your schools, for me, were next to each other, and you had the same walk home from school for 10 years. And then you go to college, you go to uni, and your group splits up and they all go to different places. And the walk, you don't do the same walk again. Luckily for me, my walk gets me to the town, so I can do that walk. So I can always, a lot of the time when I'm walking back down the hill, I get that nostalgic feeling where it's like, I used to do this every single day. And while I might not do now, it's just a nice little reminder of what life was like before. We also need to approach it from the point of view where we're being told to let something go. And like I said before, we're told to move on straight away. And the things with this, it's like, if we don't let go, we will miss the best moments that are happening right now. If we're clinging on to something that we can't change in the past, we'll hold ourselves back from seeing what will happen in the future. And this could be in terms of conversations, friendships. We've discussed all this stuff before, where we can't hold ourselves back from the present. It also gives you an opportunity to realise that as life goes on, you appreciate the the things that you weren't thinking about before, like when your football team was good, like when you beat your brother in a game of darts, like when you had that relationship. And as life goes on, you go, that was a really good moment for me. But you also have to realise, like we said, about not staying in the past. As life moves on, we're going to get more moments like this. And you're allowed to miss it, because that's the healthiest way for you to help yourself grow and make changes to your health, to your character, your well-being, of how you're going to be to approach something that might have changed next time. Missing it, missing someone, missing that item, missing anything, missing it means it mattered. And that is the quote of the day today. Missing it means it mattered. You missed a version of someone you knew, but that version of them and that version of you, they might not longer coexist. They may have never existed, but at the time they aligned and you were happy with it. If we miss it, how did it help us grow? How has it shaped our decision making for the future so that next time it is so much better and lasts longer and we're more appreciative? We take time for granted until it's too late. We miss the things we didn't say and the moments we didn't appreciate. The one thing I would say is that a lot of the time with the things where we didn't appreciate it is that we didn't think about whether it was going to be a temporary thing, where your family might be getting smaller, where you lose some grandparents, and you didn't want to think of it being temporary because you never wanted to lose them at all. But the thing as well is that whilst you can miss that, you can also look forward to new life. There's a chance in the next 5 years, hopefully anyway, that I'm going to be an uncle, and that is going to be awesome. I can't wait for that, because I'm going to be a wicked uncle, and it's not my kid, but that's how I will approach it in terms of looking after that person within my family, because first of all, they have a direct relation to me as uncle, and I've wanted that tag for ages. Uncle Ben. Like, obviously it's on all the rice products, but it does have a sweet ring to it, doesn't it? So we think of this temporary thing where we'd lost someone, but then there's also new life where you're going to be temporary in their life and they don't know it either. So it's a constant cycle, really. We didn't think about after, what's next. We lose that person and we go, what now? Because we didn't want to think about the future. We just were happy living in the present, day to day, which is the healthiest way to live. You never want to think about the future of how something's going to end. But when it does, you go, what now? And you have to allow yourself to miss it. Because if we don't, then we'll just hold on to the past. And if we can miss it and keep living in the present, then we will get through life so much more comfortably and happier, and be able to look back at these people more fondly rather than in a bad light.